We know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Um, been all kinds of songs about them, and songs pop in my head about it and everything. But think about it. These were real guys faced with a real dilemma, serving a real God, having to make a real decision, right? And so let's just kind of read through here. King Nebuchadnezzar, and y'all know when it says King Nebuchadnezzar, he's top dog, right? I mean, he's the ruler. He's the biggest known ruler in the world at that point, and you just didn't top him. He was it, and you either followed his lead or you were doomed, right? So he's that guy. He made an image of gold, and its height was 60 cubits, and its breadth 6 cubits. Now, let me just tell you how big this is, in case you think, well, that's, how big is that? 90 feet tall. That's way up there, right? This 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide, 90 feet tall. I mean, can you imagine just how imposing that is? I mean, when you approach that, can you imagine the people coming out of their houses and from their land and they're walking up in this huge statues here. And it even says that it's made of gold. And so he sets this thing up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. And then Nebuchadnezzar sent to gather, and here we go, okay? Now, did y'all go vote yesterday? Yeah. Good for y'all, you bunch of little politicians. Right? Y'all love your little politics, don't you? Well, here's your politicians right here. Here they are. Here you gather the satraps and the prefects. These are all politicians. The governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and let's just get them all, right? Because there's a lot of offices in government, isn't it? And when you go vote, you're like, I don't know who this is. I have no clue, right? And all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image of King that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So then the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the counselors, treasurers, justices, magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces, they gathered for the dedication of the image of King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before that image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And the herald proclaimed aloud, "You are" what? Commanded. You don't even have a choice. Y'all know how y'all ever feel pressure in culture? Y'all ever feel like you got to think a certain way and act a certain way? You feel the pressure from the people? You just do. And I'll be honest with you, it makes it hard. It makes it awkward. I mean, sometimes I can be like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to say what I think. I don't care what anybody thinks. But at the same time, I've got people around me that I love that I know as soon as I just be me with them, it's going to offend and it's going to put up a wall. And I didn't want that wall there. But I still want to just be myself, right? But they lean one way, they think one way, and I'm completely in the opposite direction of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I get away with it because they think I'm a silly old man.
Yes, sir.
Also, if you see on the news where they're talking about building all these data centers, they're already getting ready to replace the computers that we got now.
Yeah, these are huge. These are vast. You're right.
It's a million times faster than the
Yes.
they got now.
Yes.
So there's no way you're not going to know when you buy something trade.
Yeah.
Bible says everybody thought it's crazy.
It's not.
Everybody's going to, they're going to know.
That's right.
There's no way.
That's right.
There's no way. I agree. I know what you're saying. And there's no how long Jesus was there.
So let me just say this. Would you saying that? He's right. They're building these big, huge data centers. They're having to build power plants to power to things. And you know what everybody's saying? Do you hear anybody out there saying, you stop building them data centers? Y'all saying that? Did y'all get like on your ballot yesterday? Was there a place say you can vote yes or no to data centers? Have you got any say in this? Well, what do you do once it's built and once it's like thriving and computing everything for the,
That's heck,
it's crazy, y'all.
it's already thinking of.
What is going on is crazy. And I'm just telling you, if the church doesn't consistently have the conversation about it, which the reality is when things do, when the line is drawn in the sand, that's when you're going to find out who the true Christians are and the true church are and who's not. I'm just saying. And some people go sell out a whole lot quicker than others will. All right? But anyway, let's watch the story here. So the herald proclaimed, "You're commanded, peoples and nations and languages, and when you hear the sound of the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the trigon, the harp, the bagpipe, and every kind of music, you all fall down and worship." And it's amazing that it's music that's used there. How powerful is music? So powerful, isn't it? And so we use it to glorify God, but man, look how much of it gets used for, Super Bowl. So the worship, you're to fall down and worship the golden image. And isn't it interesting that it's the worship? Not just, you just got to go along, you just got to let the king do his thing. You just got to honor this thing, maybe salute, right? No. Just like you would worship God, the king said, you get down and you worship this thing because I'm commanding you to do it. What the heck do you do then? And what does everybody do? What are your leaders doing at this point? They're falling down as fast as they can. You don't see any opposition here. So whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. Therefore, as soon as all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the trigon, the harp, the bagpipe, and every kind of music, all the peoples, the nations, the languages, everybody, what they do, they fell down at man and they worshiped that golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Can you imagine? The whole nation, all the tribes, everybody walking in so much fear as they watched. It's like the whole crowd just staggered and everybody just fell to their knees. That's what culture does to you. That's the pressure of culture. You better lean this way. You better think this way. You better not be outside of the way we think. That pressure. And man, it's hard. And it's especially hard for people who are weak in faith. Because it's like, how do you overcome this? And you think you're doing the right, and I don't want to offend anybody. Oh, I don't want to offend grandma, I don't want to offend this my neighbor over here, so I may as well just go along with the crowd. Isn't it easier just go along with the crowd? And not speak your voice, right? It's easier. Just fall in line. Just bow down. Just worship. Just get it over with. The only problem with that is, and I would say there would have been consequences for the Hebrew boys had they bowed with God. God is very clear. You worship this beast, and there are consequences for that. In fact, the consequences are, you're out. You're out. You're done. Yeah. Now you don't worship, and that guy does it good.
But you're all that saint then. If you hold your and they knew,
You got to hold the faith in Jesus, man. That's why it's always faith. That's what Scripture always says: faith in Jesus, faith in Jesus, faith in Jesus. Not just faith in God, general. Faith in Jesus. Muslims will say, "I've got faith in God." The Hindu will say, "I've got faith in God." That's not the requirement. The requirement is faith in Jesus. He is your God. Jesus is God. And when you awaken with that faith, and it is at your very core, man, all you can do at that point is just trust God. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to do. I mean, and I say for me, you want to take my life? Fine. But when you say that about my grandbaby, now you're making this hard for me now. You see what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying, don't you? And I'm saying you better be thinking about this. You better, like, your faith better be like anchoring you in a place where you're just like, no matter what, no matter how deceptive it is, no matter what everybody else is doing, no matter all the pressure, I'm not giving in. Because I'm going to trust God that He's got this. And so what happens here, so it says, therefore, in verse 8, at the time certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews. That's an interesting phrase, isn't it, nowadays? Maliciously accuse the Jews. Don't we see a lot of that going on right now? It's all this anti-Jew stuff. And declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. O king, listen how they just speak to him. Oh, you, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the trigon, the harp, the bagpipe, and every kind of music shall fall down and worship the golden image, and whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, and here's their names. See, they knew their names, right? And I promise you, just sitting in this context right here, because of these devices in this room, you're just known by this government anyway. You ain't even got to have this. You're just known by this government. I can go on, man, I'm telling you, I can go on Google right now. I can pull up your name. I can know your address. I can know your phone number. I can know how long you've lived where you lived. What you do for a living. If you bought your house not too long ago, I can find that out, and I can know how much you paid for your house. I can know exactly how many acres of land you have. I can know so much about you if I wanted to, right? It's just all right there. And that's just like the easy stuff to get to. I mean, what about the people that are like really malicious and like really want to know what's going on? So they know, and it says, these men, O king, they pay no attention to you. And they do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was in furious rage. The king's mad at this point, right? And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought to him. So they brought them in before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods? So this is what this is. It's about who's your God? Is it man? Is it things? Is it power? Is it prosperity? What is it? It's something. And it's all about, everything comes down to who is your God? It's just like Jesus asked Peter, he says, who does everybody say that I am? Blah, 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 blah. We could go on and on about that in this world, this day and time, about who Jesus is, couldn't we? But then Jesus looks at him and he goes, but who do you say that I am? That's what matters. And so Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods and worship the golden image that I've set up? Now, if you're ready, he goes, I'm going to give you one more chance. And we always want that, don't we? Just give me one more chance, right? So when you're ready, we're going to play the horn, the pipe, the trigon, the harp, the bagpipe, every kind of music, and fall down and worship the image that I've made. Well and good, but if you do not worship, he goes, here it is. You shall immediately be cast into the fiery furnace. And listen to what he says. And who is the God that will deliver you out of my hands? Because this world makes such a mockery of God. And all the different nations and the cultures that have not served the true God have made just a mockery of who God is. But even in the United States, where we would go, this is a nation founded on Christian principles, tons of people get Jesus wrong. A lot of them don't care anything about Jesus. A lot of them claim to know Jesus, but they don't. They're fake. And they try to teach another Jesus, and they try to propagate that and try to get other people to come on board with that. And it's so confusing and complex. But at the end of the day, who is it that you say Jesus is personally yourself? And so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I love watch how they deal with this. Because this, to me, this is the kind of things you and I need to hear. It doesn't need to just be childhood Bible stories. It needs to be, these were real people facing a real dilemma, and they had to make a real choice. And here's what they said. They're basically like, you can play the music again if you want to, right? But they answered the king, old Nebuchadnezzar. And notice how they didn't give him all the flattering, oh, king, oh, like the other guys, like the politicians, right? I know we got to have them, but don't they get on your nerves? If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us. Is he? He is. From the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand. If he delivers us from that fire, king, he's going to deliver us out of your hand, right? And he can do that. But I like the other side of this because they go, but God is God, and God can do whatever he wants to. God doesn't have to do what I say do. But at the end of the day, I'm trusting him anyway. Because regardless, he's got this. Whether he delivers me out of that fire or whether we get thrown in there and we burn up, our souls are going to immediately be with God. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's where my fate takes me. That's my hope. That's what would cause me to give my life for this, right? And so he says, but if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Man, we almost need to just memorize that. And you know, the thing is, I'll be 60 this year. I know. That ain't how I feel. But, I mean, like I said, things are changing rapidly now in ways like they've never changed before. So maybe this does happen in my lifetime. But if it doesn't, man, I fear for my kids. I fear for my grandbaby. I'm like, man, what in the world? So what do I have to do? I got to make sure, first of all, I'm living by example, right? Because you can tell somebody something all day long, but if you're not setting the example with your life, you are what is it called? A clashing cymbal and gonging brass or whatever it says over there. You're nothing, right? Like, nobody's going to listen. But if you're living by example, you got to be very intentional about how you speak into their lives, right? They need to know this story. This is one of the best stories to tell at bedtime and talk about it and go, I just want to make sure you know this and that you would be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if it doesn't happen in my time before I leave here, most likely the next generation, or at least the one behind it for sure. You know? And I know people predicted the coming of Jesus forever, right? It's been 2,000 years. But at some point, he's coming. At some point, all this is coming to fruition, right? And so we've got this obligation to pour this into them. And you guys know, and I'm not going to spend the whole time up here to tell the rest of the story, because you know, they get thrown in the fire, and then Nebuchadnezzar looks in there and he goes, daggone, I thought we just threw 3 people in there, right? He goes, would somebody count for me? Am I seeing doubles here? There's 4 people in there. And he goes, one of them looks like the son of the gods. Like he's different, right? Something's different about that 4th one, right? And we write Southern gospel songs about this, right? I can think of these songs in my head right now. But then he says, he yells out, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, come out of the fire. And they come out, you know, they were thrown in there with all their clothes on and everything. Nothing's burned up. They're not singed. They're not scorched. And then I love what it says, one of the verses there. It says, this is God, though. I love it. Y'all know this. And the king's like, they don't even smell like smoke. I'm like, that's God. That's the God we serve right there. Now, he can choose to do it that way. Or how many people have been martyred in this world where their lives have been taken from them and they went all the way to the end and they gave their life and then God delivered them into the kingdom of heaven. And he said, that's your next step. Either way, King, I can tell you one thing. You can do whatever you want to do. You can play all the music you want to play. You can set up all the statues you want to set up. You can say whatever you want to all these people. But I'm going to tell you this one thing that's not going to happen. I'm not going to bow down. I serve one God and him only. Y'all follow me? We need to have these conversations with our churches all the time, right? Just to say, guys, just keep being ready. It's great to come and do the same things we do every Sunday and Wednesdays, and we sing and we pray and we preach the word and all those things. But there'll be so many that will just be blindsided. Because it'll happen so fast. And the pressure of the world will say, you just do what we say if you want to be okay. And it's going to be such a hard decision to make. You think that was just easy for those guys when they're sitting there and they're like, man, why did it have to come to this? But it will. Because even Jesus said this, Satan is the ruler of this present age. And what he wants to do is dominate, and he wants to be king. No, he doesn't want to be king. He wants to be God. And he will not quit until the world bows down to him. Well, we just sang about it a minute ago. He's already won the victory. Right? He's already won the victory. What'd you say? What was that statement you made about the victory a minute ago?
We don't fight for victory, we fight from the victory.
See, when you said that, I was like, that's exactly the way you got to look at it. So no matter what happens to my life is minuscule. Right? We just got to trust that God has got it either way, right? But we're not bowing. We're not bowing anybody. And the whole church needs to stand strong in that because they believe, they so deeply believe in what it is that Christ has done for them. Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
Jesus, thank you for your words. Thank you for your truth and your power. And thank you so much that your words just, they convict our hearts, but they also give us great hope and peace. And so we just don't want to walk in fear. We don't want to walk faithlessly. We thank you that you've given us these words that build our confidence and help us to trust you. But we need to hear them all the time. We need to encourage one another with them. And we just need to continue to seek the way forward together. And we know that you got this, Lord. You've already told the end from the beginning. And we thank you for that. If there's anyone in this gathering today, Lord, that has any doubts, any questions about their faith, I pray that you deal with them directly. You convict their hearts of their sin, because that's what you do. You convict of sin, and righteousness, and judgment. And you convince us that we're sinners. We're just convinced. And when we're convinced of that, we know that we need help. But then we hear the rest of your story and realize you gave us that help through Jesus, your son. He died on the cross. His blood was shed in order to cleanse all of our sins away. And then he resurrected from the dead to receive us to himself. And the way that we are cleansed, the way that blood is applied to us is when we believe in our hearts and we confess with our mouths the Lord Jesus. And we're saved. And you said, whoever would call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. calling on you today, Jesus, because we don't have anything else. We know what's coming. We're not 100% the way it all works out, but we know what's coming. And we're trusting you. So we thank you today for that. In Christ's name we pray.